then the last part of our mission is to educate. We're trying to inspire good stewards, and we do that. We have over 300 programs a year, school groups and hikes and education programs. Our belief is that if we can expose people to our preserves, if we can educate them about why wetlands matter and give them some good experiences, some hands-on experiences, then they'll start to love it. And once they love it, they'll start to care about it, and then they'll start to take care of it. And that's how we start building generations of people who will get on board with wetlands protection while we can. So some of the education programs we have, we've got school groups, large public events such as our upcoming Monarch Festival, which we'll be holding out here at Eagle Marsh. We usually have around 1,500 people come to those events. We try to do those twice a year. It's about all we can manage because they are a lot of work, but they're also great fun, a great way to bring new people into the marsh. Once a month we have our Breakfast on the Marsh presentation, which is actually right here in this room. We try to bring in a guest speaker once a month on a variety of topics. So today we had a woman from the DNR talk about the trees of Fort Wayne, the tree canopy. It was really actually very interesting. We have guided hikes, and we have a Seed to Marsh program, which I'm going to talk about shortly. So these are some pictures. This barn up here is where we have that's really our education center. We have all of our props and things in there. Allie is our educator, and she runs all the programs primarily out of there. This bottom left one is an example of one of the things that she does with the school groups. It's called pond dipping. We'll give the school groups, all the kids will get rubber boots to put on when they come, and they'll be given these big nets, so they'll go out to the water and scoop and see what they find. And then they'll bring the water samples into the barn, and we've got a microscope and a big screen TV. So they put drops of water on the slide, and they can see all the little things crawling around in the water, the macroinvertebrates, and how living the water is. So it's one of the favorite programs we have. The kids just really love it. It's when we can really start to see how much is really going on in the marsh and the ecosystems that are really present there. All right, if you hang out here very long, you're going to hear Seed to Marsh, Seed to Marsh, Seed to Marsh. We do a lot of it. Thousands of people a year are part of this program. It's kind of our own creation. It's a way that we've created to blend educational programs with restoration work. So the way it works is it's a year-round program. It's intergenerational, so it doesn't matter if you're 3 years old or 80 years old, you can all participate in it, which is one of the beauties of it. But it's a multi-step thing. So it starts in the fall with seed collection. Basically, after the plants out here have been done, once the flowering is done, the seeds will develop and will turn ripe. So we'll go out to the marsh with our paper bags, and we'll just gather the seed heads off of the plant and put them in a bag. That's step number one. So families can do this, school groups can do this. We have groups from ICANN, some of the autism groups will come out. They can do seed collection just fine. So that's the first step. Then we can take all those seeds. Step two is we start cleaning the seed, which means that you break open the pod and you try to get the seed out from all the chaff and all the excess material. So this top left one was last fall, Charles and I took just tons of bags over to Bishop Lures, and we had how many, 700 kids, I think, did seed cleaning for the morning. They cleaned so many seeds, it was crazy. So this was just one classroom of about 30 that we set up for. But you can see here, it doesn't matter. We can do custom groups. This bottom right one is part of our monthly volunteering. There's a few people in this picture who are probably here in this room tonight.
Last Wednesday we had 45 people.
45 at volunteering. I heard about that. It was fantastic turnout. So that's step 2, is the seed cleaning. And we can do that all year round whenever we have seeds. Step 3 is we'll take those seeds and sow them. Basically, we'll take little pots, put soil in them, and plant the seeds in the soil. So you can see here a bunch of little kids doing that. They love to get their hands in the dirt and scoop. We've had a few issues this summer with a lot of the seeds not germinating. So I think some of the kids are like pounding those seeds in pretty hard. So we do have to coach them a little bit on how to be gentle with the seeds. So the quality control is not always where it needs to be, but A for effort. Step 4 is to, once those seeds germinate a little bit into little seedlings, then we'll transplant them. So we'll have like a tray, kind of like here in the middle, which will just be lots and lots of plants in one little pot. It's really too tightly packed to be successful, so we'll break those apart, and each little seedling will get to be transplanted into its own little cup so that they can start to grow and flourish. So that's the next step. And then finally, once they're big enough, then we can either transplant them out into the marsh or any of our areas that need a little help, that aren't, have some bare spots or need more biodiversity. Or a lot of these we actually just give away at our plant giveaways at our large events. So I think a couple years ago we gave away like 6,000 plants or something. So it's, we're not in the nursery business, but the Seed to Marsh program has allowed us to find a way to take advantage of the seed that we have out there and do some really good stuff with it. And it's been a great community builder. These logos here are just an example of some of the partnerships and collaborations we do around our education programs. We do as much as we can with other school groups, University of St. Francis, Indiana Tech, Purdue, Fort Wayne. You can see all the school groups up here. So we really try to interface with those programs to bring as many students into connection with our work that we can. You're saying at least 4,000 students a year are taking part of our education programs. At the college level, Dr. Bergeson of Purdue Fort Wayne does a research program here at Eagle Marsh. Chris Barlow has done salamander studies. Dr. Mark Jordan is the chair of the biology department, and he does annual turtle surveys out here, which he's been doing for years now. He's been doing it long enough he can actually see trends and has really, really good data. So it's a great way to allow students to apply their academic studies to a real world situation and see how you collect data, learn about the different kinds of traps that you use in the field, and then learn about just conservation and habitat and how it supports the diversity. They'll do pond dipping of the Grand McCullough Ditch to see what kind of fish we have out here every year, what kinds of species, how the populations ebb and flow over time. So there's a lot of really good science going on. Here are some more partnerships. Allen County Public Library, you all, the IMN group, which we love to participate with, and Pollinator Partnership comes out, and we do a lot of collaborative programs with them as well. So you can see just the far reach our education programs have. We're really very proud of that.
Can you mention the BioBlitz real quick?
Oh yeah, so every 10 years we try to host a BioBlitz here. So we just had one in May. This is put on by the Indiana Academy of Science. And we had, I think, 110 scientists from around the state come to Eagle Marsh for the whole weekend. and they worked in teams to try to do an inventory of what's out here at Eagle Marsh. So we had a vascular plants team. We had a snail killing flies team. We had pollinators. We had bats. We had herpetology groups. We had fish groups. What else? Anyway, they were here for the whole weekend. Just birds. Yeah.
Nighttime moths.
Moths, that was a really cool one. Yeah, so we had a lot of volunteers that could go out and watch how they set up their traps. The moth team was really cool. They would go out at night. They'd have a black light, right? And they'd put some kind of a fine mesh net over it, and the moths would come up and be attracted to the light, and then they could be photographed. I think they inventoried like 113 species of moths out here, including one that had only been sighted one other time in all of northern Indiana. Really incredible. So in about 6 months or so, we'll probably get that full report, and we'll be able to compare the data from this BioBlitz to the one we had back in 2014, and just see, how are we doing? Is our effort increasing biodiversity? Are the populations growing or shrinking? So it's a fun way to bring science in. So I guess the point is that the restoration work that we've done on a property as big as Eagle Marsh is big enough to actually have a pretty significant impact on plant communities and animal communities, especially since it's adjacent to Fox Island. So we've got like a 2 square mile chunk of land that's been set aside. That's big enough to really be making some serious difference. If we can just grow and get that whole valley, 5 square miles, wouldn't that be cool? So that was a little bit about our mission, what we do, what our work is, what we're trying to accomplish out here. I just want to take a quick second, because I get this question a lot about how are we funded. We are a nonprofit organization. We don't really get much government money at all, at least not for our ongoing efforts. Once in a while, we'll, if it's a land acquisition, yes, we might co-purchase it with the DNR or get some money from the Nature Conservancy or something. But for our daily ins and outs, there's not really federal money there. The way we are funded is primarily through individual donations. It's just folks like you who love our mission and donate on a personal level. We get a little bit of money from businesses who will be a sponsor of our large events, or Frogapalooza, for instance. Some grant money from like Follinger Foundation, Community Foundation, a lot of family foundations here locally. Stock gifts and planned giving. So we do have a few people who, like donors, who either have their own donor advised fund set up through a foundation and they give to us that way, or donate stock to us, or they've written us into their estate plan so that when they pass away, a portion of their estate will come to the organization. Don't get a lot of those, but I'm hoping to grow that piece. We do have Frogapalooza. That's our annual gala, which we just had a few weeks ago. I think a lot of you were there. That's always a fun event. And if you notice, the one thing that's not really on here is program revenue. And the reason for that is we try to do as much of this for free that we can. Our education programs, by and large, are free. We're, like this year, just started charging a little bit of money for like Earth Day. If you come out to Earth Day, it's free for members and free for kids. If you're from the general public, can we have $3, please, just to help cover some of the costs? But we don't make much money from our programs. We try to do as much of this just as a community service because we believe in our mission and we want people to enjoy what we have to offer. So that's our financial situation.
What about the Papa John thing?
So for those of you who would like to get involved either in additional learning or to volunteer here, I've tried to take all the many things we're doing and breaking it down into little buckets so that you can kind of pick out what are you excited about doing. So I would say there's 3 categories of our service projects here. The first one is education and outreach. So if you're one who likes to teach others or help kids or spread your passion for the environment or your learning, then pay attention to the education and outreach section when I go through that. If you like to get out on the earth and work, if you like to pull weeds and cut down things with a chainsaw and that kind of thing, if you're a worker bee, then you'll want to do the stewardship things. And then if you want to contribute to citizen science, like help us collect data about what's going on out here, and you want to know what's happening with the bird populations or the bat populations, then you want to learn about the citizen science programs. So that's kind of a loose structure, skeleton of what I'll be covering next. So I'll go through each of these one by one. Before I do that, I love this slide because it shows kind of a variety of things that people have done. Here on the top left, we have someone holding a massive turtle. I can't tell if it's a snapper or probably not a snapper. Over here is someone building a chimney swift tower. And then, I don't know, the bottom people were actually doing, looks like a stewardship team. But the saying here, I think, is really powerful. It says, volunteers let us know what the community cares about by voting with their time and dedication for the change they want to see. And I just think that's so beautiful. So, with that in mind, I'll go through what the different opportunities are here. So first of all, education and outreach opportunities. These are all coordinated primarily by this beautiful young lady, Allie Munger. She's our full-time wetland educator. She's just fantastic. She's warm, she's fun. She makes everything happy. So she would be the one you would probably want to talk to if you want to get involved there. Some of the ways you can get involved with education is, first of all, through any of our large events, our large festivals like Earth Day, Monarch Festival, which is coming up here in early September. She usually arranges 10 to 15 different education stations that are hands-on learning activities for the kids or the adults to come. So if you want to help out with any of those education stations, that's a great way to help out with the education piece. And we also need lots of other volunteers at those events too that aren't necessarily education, but crowd control and parking people and lots of other different things. Another way is to become a trail guide. So if you like to hike, if you want to be, now that you're all master naturalists, if you want to learn how to lead these hikes, you can go through trail guide training. I'll talk about that in a minute. And you can start leading hikes out here at our preserves. Or, she does a lot of school groups, and sometimes she just needs an extra set of hands just to help manage 30 little kindergartners who come out. It's just a lot of work, and she needs, some help with those. So she's your gal's contact. Our festivals, here's some pictures. On the left, we have Monarch Festival. Bottom is Earth Day. Top right, I think that was a pond dipping event that we had at one of our festivals, and the top middle one is the Urban Turtle Festival. So if you just like to be playful and you want to dress up in a turtle costume, that's another volunteer opportunity. And we've got some people in this room who have done that, right? Who's been a turtle or a... Jan, you've dressed up before, haven't you?
I was a beaver.
A beaver, right.
Russ Voorhees was the turtle, I think.
Who was?
Russ Voorhees.
Oh, that's right. So those are some fun things you can help with at our festivals. Becoming a trail guide, again, I've touched on this a little bit. Allie has started this year a trail guide training program, one training per season. So she'll have her summer one coming up here in the next 12 weeks, but she'll bring you out to the marsh. She'll teach you what's going out in the marsh right now, so that you know, like, should they were in the spring, summer, fall, and winter, so that no matter when you would become a trail guide, you have like a toolbox, basically, of knowledge based on the season. She'll also share with you some tips and tricks for how you do crowd control, and how you project your voice, and how to keep people engaged, and just some skill set building. So if you wanted to become a trail guide, reach out to Allie and she'll get you connected. The next category of our volunteerism is the stewardship and restoration. So this is the hands-on, the hard work kind of stuff I was talking about. Real quickly, I've got individual slides for a lot of these. Volunteering, Trashy Thursday, bottom left is stewardship programs, and trail stewards. So let me go through these a little bit more. Trashy Thursday happens every Thursday, the first Thursday of each month from 10 to 12, 10 in the morning till 12 noon. And basically we just meet over at our kiosk parking lot over here on Ingle Road. And we get picker-uppers, like grabbers and vests, and we just go up and down Ingle Road and we gather up trash every month, and we see that pile there on the left. That's about how much we get. There's just so much trash on Ingle Road, so we pick it up there before it has a chance to wash into the marsh, which would then eventually make it into the rivers. So that's a very easy way. You can jump in. That can be a one and done. You can come one time, you can come every time, doesn't matter. It's very, very flexible. Second one is volunteering. This is one of my favorites. Every month on Wednesday, we go to Hop River Brewing Company. You can see it there in the top middle. So you'll go, you'll get your drink of choice, get some food, and then we have a volunteer activity. Usually, if the weather's nice, we'll sit outside on picnic tables, and it's usually some kind of a seed to marsh activity. So either cleaning seeds, like you see over here on the top right. There's cleaning seeds. The middle one is transplanting. Down here must have been a winter one because we're inside cleaning seeds. Last week, I think, when Ernest said we had like 45 people who came, which was like best turnout ever. I think they were cutting out things for the education stations for our upcoming Monarch Festival. So it's easy work, no training necessary, just come and have a good time. Great way to meet other people in the community who love the work, and it's just a great way to build some friendships. So again, that's the first Wednesday of the month from 6 to 8 at Hop River. If you like to get your hands more dirty, you can work out on the marsh. You can either work alone, if that's your thing. If you want to set your own schedule and work by yourself, you can become a trail steward.
Be a trail steward.
Be a trail steward, yes. So we have, we've got a lot of preserves, and they all have trails on them. We've got like 22 miles of trails all together, and so what we would do is assign you a trail or a section of a trail, and you would kind of take ownership of that. So either by yourself or maybe partner with somebody else, and then once a week or twice a month, you go out and you just make sure it's in good order. So cut back vegetation if it's flopping over the trail, pick up trash, or just kind of keep an eye out. If you see poison ivy, you can let us know, and we'll try to treat it, that kind of thing. So that's a great way to help us out. Very, very flexible. If you like to be doing more group work, then every other Wednesday other than volunteering, we have a weed wrangle of some kind. Usually where Charles will let you know where we're meeting and what we're working on. Sometimes it's calorie pear, garlic mustard. It just depends what's blooming and what the problem is. The problem of the week is what we tackle that night. Just go out for an hour or two as a team and work together. All right, if those things don't, make you warm and fuzzy and you want to do citizen science, that's another option. We have turtle research. We have Nest Watch, which is basically monitoring the the bird boxes out here. This is Nancy Koldusky. She's in charge of that program. So she gives you the training every spring on how to go about it. Basically, you're going through and keeping the nests, the boxes clean of predators and doing counts on what you're finding in the bird box. Bat research, we have some trail cams up on our bat houses, and so the team that's working on that, again, needs help keeping those bat boxes maintained and going through the film footage, because we get hours and hours and hours of footage that needs like edited down, and some work with that. And then monarch monitoring is going on right now all the time, going out to the marsh, and you'll have, again, a section of trail assigned to you, and you'll literally go along and count how many monarch eggs you're seeing on the plants and how many caterpillars at what stage. Is it first instar, second instar, what's going on with our the monarch babies out there. This is another citizen science slide. This top left one is our Hoosier River Watch. This is the group that goes out and does water sampling just to keep track of the water quality. So there's a lot going on with citizen science. Charles, who you just met, is overseeing all of those things too. They're mostly community-led, so usually teams of people like you who care about something specific, and there will be usually a community leader who oversees it. Like Ed. It seems to me, I mean, one of the joys I've had working here is getting to know people like you who have engaged with our organization in a million different ways, and hearing your stories and just seeing your passion. It seems like volunteers like to volunteer here because they like the people, you like each other. It's fun. You get to learn as you help. It's pretty flexible in terms of the commitment, so you can kind of pick something that meets your availability. And there's a really wide variety from all ages, and as you saw, indoor, outdoor, whatever. So that's why I think people like to volunteer here. And we've got a lot of volunteers, which I'm really happy for, because we couldn't do it without you. So I'd like to open the floor up now for those of you who do. So if you want to get involved with more volunteering, there's Charles. His email is down there. All the stuff's on our website, though, how to volunteer, what's coming up. There's a calendar. Look for the calendar. It shows you the month at a glance, and you can see it all very easily that way. We do ask that if you want to volunteer at some of the events that you RSVP, just so we know who all's coming. And for most things, we do ask you to fill out an application and go through volunteer orientation, just so we can do the required checks and due diligence. Thank you. If you don't want to volunteer, that's fine too. That's not for everybody. The other ways you can engage are just come out for a hike. We really want you to enjoy our preserves. They're open for free, dawn to dusk, all year round. So trail maps are available online, and I've got some trail maps of, I think, Eagle Marsh back there if you want to grab one today. You can sign up for our e-newsletter, so that just once a month, we try to not bombard your email inbox, but we do try to keep you informed of what's going on, so you can sign up for that. The last way you can help us is to become a member. Like I said, we are supported by individuals like you. Membership is just $50 a year, and we just use that as a donation. And then members get like free admission to our events and programs. Free or reduced admission. So we do try to give back to you. All right, well, thank you all for your attention. It's been my pleasure to tell my story. So thanks for your attention and for being here tonight.